It's about time that we give fangirls the credit they deserve. All because we aren't men, it doesn't make us any less of a fan or any less of a person, as a matter of fact. See, our society often overlooks how a fangirl's devotion and enthusiasm, especially towards their favorite music artists, really does have a massive impact on those artists' legacy and their rise to popularity. And in particular, I am delving into Beatlemania because really their fangirls majorly contributed to the Beatles' rise in popularity during the 60s, but they also really became the blueprint for the fan cultures and the fangirls that we see today. Of course, before the Beatles, there were already notable fan bases. We had Hungarian composer Franz Liszt, and that really brought the term Listomania into existence. And then you had artists such as Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley, I can vouch for. I mean, my grandma was really dead set on seeing Elvis Presley as much as she could. And following suit of my grandma, I too also have fangirl credibility. And yes, it does include the Beatles, but it really did start with my childhood love with the Jonas Brothers, and then Big Time Rush came, and of course 5 Seconds of Summer, and then the many K-pop bands I used to stand in middle school. And I think really the most important one for me was really One Direction. This fangirl experience that I had and many others had today, I mean, all of it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the Beatle fangirls of the 60s. In the beginning of the 60s, majority Beatle fans were girls. There is no doubt about that. In between childhood and adulthood, teenage girls really found a space for themselves with the music that they were really drawn to. And one of the things that they were really drawn to were the Beatles' catchy, upbeat rock and roll sound. And then you pair these beats seamlessly with their swinging, romantic lyrics, and the fans really started to burst and beam with much, enthusiasm and energy, especially during their live performances on TV and in concerts. Not to mention, it made so many girls run to the record store to purchase their own copy so they could listen to it as many times as their hearts desired. I will say that the Beatle members themselves, they created these beats and they wrote the words. And that was something not really common for pop acts during the early 60s. And furthermore, it only made that connection to the band even more irresistible for the fans. And of course, having their matching suits and mop top hairstyles, it really made their image appeal to the girls as soft and rather much more attractive. And so you put all of this together and you got Beatlemania in full effect. And it was this, defining cultural phenomenon of the 60s. He's a real And of course, because of the growing global spread of Beatlemania, the Beatles were being rapidly propelled onto major stages. I mean, they were playing sold-out gigs at baseball stadiums, they drew 15 million viewers for a TV performance, and they even made movies promoting their albums. And yes, it was starring the Beatles themselves. And yet, the influence garnered by the devotion of their fans, it really did not stop there. Soon, Beatles merchandise was everywhere, unlike anything we've seen with artists beforehand. Bedrooms became plastered with posters, nightstands had dolls and magazines. I mean, girls came to school with Beatle badges on their dresses and Beatle lunchboxes in their hand. There were so many Beatle-themed items that if I named them all, I might run out of time in this video. But really, it was anything you could have imagined. Beyond the merchandise, we also saw how Beatlemania had influence on fan culture itself. Soon, we saw how the shared love of the Beatles really united teen girls all over. Fan clubs were established, committees came together to make newsletters, all-girl rock bands started popping up, and new friendships at school were forming, all thanks to these 4 musicians from Liverpool. Furthermore, these girls were really our Beatle historians. I mean, their diaries and newsletters, their fan magazines, I mean, they gave us such precise descriptions of their concerts and outfits and their mood and their interviews. I mean, really anything that you can think of. And something that's really big in fandoms today, of course, is fan fiction. I mean, think of our modern day Your Name in Wattpad in AO3. Yeah, they had that in the 60s as well. And I was actually learning about that when I was reading Pamela Des Barres' I'm With the Band book. And it really makes you realize like just how alike we are to the Beatles fangirls, because they really were the blueprint. And so without the fangirls' wholeheartedly love and enthusiasm, the Beatles really would have not been remarked as such a massive cultural phenomenon that will forever be linked to the 60s. I mean, would they even have a rise to popularity on such a major scale without the fangirls? It's such a shame that fangirls have long been overlooked by society's determined misogyny, and that they really want to make women out as too emotional and hysterical for something they were just so deeply passionate about. The Beatle fangirls, they got to enjoy a band that brought enough excitement to drown out and give them a chance to rebel against societal expectations of repression, especially towards women's sexuality and just being able to have fun as a woman. And additionally, it really did, if you think about it, contribute to the liberating and free-spirited, legacy that really defined the 60s. So why must we disregard and belittle the fangirls of the 60s and even the fangirls of today's time? Because really, where would the music industry and those artists truly be without them? Because without a doubt, I mean, today, the music industry and artist interaction with fans and pop culture and fandom spaces, they wouldn't really be what they are without the Beatle fangirls. They truly were the blueprint, and they deserve much more credit for helping shape their beloved artist's legacy and rise to popularity, and also what we see in fan culture today. And honestly, likewise, as do all the fangirls of today's time deserve as well.
I'm 105 and an old grandmother. I love him. And Paul McCartney, if you are listening. Adrienne from Brooklyn loves you with all her heart. I love you, Paul, and please come to the window so I can just